Hello, hello, hello. Do you notice my first words in this? It was slightly doubtful. Is there anyone there? Is there anybody there? I'm sure there is. And presently you will reveal yourselves. And meanwhile, there's life. First contact. John King. Who else? And Lynn up in Scotland at Ardnamurchan. Yeah, great. Yeah, such loyal friends and followers. And Isalinda Damas, another one from Portugal. Melanie Mamarcus from California, from Los Angeles. Mark Taft from Leicester. Liz Harris from Scotland, from Fife. Lydia Jordan, hi. I can't remember where you're from, Lydia. Mirella Porcelli from Lombardy in Italy. Yeah, greetings from Lynn and John. Okay, Elizabeth Silver, David Wetzelweiler, Natalie Jenkins and Jules Cousins. Great. And anyone else who's joining? Anyone else? Beautiful. Yeah, I'm always touched and kind of surprised and encouraged. So this whole Sovereign Earth adventure, just to remind ourselves, me to remind myself what it's about. So it's a vision of humanity putting nature as sacred, or humanity coming to put nature as sacred once again, back to our roots, back to our source. And the Sovereign Earth elements of that, and this is number 42 already, are the building blocks and the keys and the wherewithal to enable that. So this is a vision with the means of achieving it. When all these building blocks are part of are an accepted part, a normal part, rather than a fringe element like now, then we'll be on track for the earth being and nature as being sacred again. So here we are, and this week, Sovereign Earth 42, and it's magic that I'm going to be exploring. But first, a little song just to land and come to ground. Wake up, wake up, wake up, rise with the rising sun. Listen to your heart, we are one, we are one, we are one. Wake up, wake up, wake up, rise with the rising sun. Listen to your heart, we are one, we are one, we are one. Wake up, wake up, wake up, rise with the rising sun. Listen with your heart, we are one, we are one, we are one. So welcome, and let's just land together and tune in with 3 breaths together. So imagining ourselves, yeah, we are all around the globe, literally, and here this global grove that I've come to regard this as, come to call it and feel at home in. Imagine ourselves in a vast circle of trees around the globe, a vast grove of which we are part, and we're joining in and we're linking in either through trees or our fellow beings, both. Holding hands with everyone in the circle here now. And we'll share 3 breaths just to land. First breath for this beautiful, rich, vibrant earth beneath us. Second breath for the beautiful, incredibly blue, vibrant sky above. Deep breath. And a third breath for the waters which surround whichever land you are stationed on and resident on. This is for the waters that surround our lands. Deep breath. And we'll share 3 Arwens. Breath, sacred breath of life. and just enjoying this connection between this circle in this grove. Welcome. Okay, squeezing hands, letting go, becoming present. So magic is a vast subject. I could surely speak for hours on the subject. So the magic I need to invoke is to be succinct and focused and not go on for too long. But this will probably last about half an hour. I hope it's not too long for you, and you're always free to leave, of course. I hope I won't lose too many of you en route. Maybe we'll gain a few en route. So I'm going to break it down into 3 aspects, the power of threes. That is magic, I think. So the first aspect I want to look on is the magic of childhood. We're going to remember our childhood magic for a moment. Children see magic because they look for it. It's a good one. When you were born, you cried, and the world rejoiced. Live your life so that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice. And the way to do that, I suggest, is to live a life of magic. So what's some of the keys? Let's explore a few of the things that we too often forget, me as well as you. So I want to read this passage. I didn't have time to copy it out, but it's by a guy called Robert McGammon, and it's called From a Boy's Life. And I think I can resonate with this. I suspect we all can at some level. Here we go. He says, I do believe in magic. I was born and raised in a magic time, in a magic town, among magicians. Pretty much everybody else didn't realise that we lived in that web of magic, connected by silver filaments of chance and circumstance. But I knew it all along. When I was 12 years old, the world was my magic lantern, and by its green spirit glow, I saw the past, the present, and into the future. You probably did too. You just don't recall it. See, this is my opinion. We all start out knowing magic. We are born with whirlwinds, forest fires, and comets inside us. We are born able to sing to the birds and read the clouds and see our destiny in grains of sand. But then we get the magic educated right out of our souls. We get it churched out, spanked out, washed out, and combed out. We get put on the straight and narrow and told to be responsible, told to act our age, told to grow up for God's sake. And do you know why we were told that? Because the people doing the telling were afraid of our wildness and youth. And because the magic we knew made them ashamed and sad of what they'd allowed to wither within themselves. After you go so far away from it, though, you can't really get it back. You can have seconds of it, just seconds of knowing and remembering. When people get weepy at movies, it's because in that dark theatre, the golden pool of magic is touched again, just briefly. And I think that's a wonderful, I could have gone into rhapsody about my own childhood, and maybe I will one day, but he summed it up beautifully, I thought, and I think all of us can resonate with what he was speaking of there. We're in touch with magic as children. We're so close to the source, and then we come away from it, and we're taught to come away from it. Oh, for the day when we're taught to connect with it and to honour it and to celebrate it. and then the earth will thrive again. So that's part of it. So this connection with the magic of childhood, I'm sure this is touching, as it touches me, it brings up stuff from my childhood. I felt very close to the source, or mystical even, that mystic source of magic all around. 3 drops, fire in my head. 3 drops, fire in my head. 3 drops, fire in my head. 3 drops of inspiration. Drink from the cauldron, fire in my head. Drink from the cauldron, fire in my head. Drink from the cauldron, fire in my head. 3 drops of inspiration. Magic all around us, fire in my head. Magic all around us, fire in my head. Magic all around us, fire in my head. 3 drops of inspiration. Salmon in the well, fire in my head. Salmon in the well, fire in my head. Salmon in the well, fire in my head. 3 drops of inspiration. Whoa! And a thank you to Nimue Brown, for penning that song, of creating that song, magicking it into existence. So that's magic of childhood. We're only touching briefly on these. So the second element I want to touch into is the magic that is in everything, the magic in all. So in this time of lockdown, in this time of unusual happening and unusual not happening, I've been walking up the valley where I live, Slad Valley, a very beautiful part of the world. And really, it's partly, it is connected to this strange time. I don't think I'm alone. I know I'm not alone. I mean, I had even a strange happening. I'm diverging slightly. I was thrown slightly just before this broadcast, about an hour before the broadcast. The BBC rang me up. They wanted to interview me for a podcast. Strangely, it's to do with summer solstice because it's been cancelled at the event. But the point, and they said, can we speak to our resident druid? It's only a particular programme, it's on Radio 5. But the point was, I was chatting to this guy who hosts it, and he said, he acknowledged as well, he said, I don't understand it, I can't get my head around it. This spring is so vibrant, so beautiful, so amazing. And he's quite, you could tell from the way he spoke, you could say he's a skeptic, but he really got it. He was, and my sense is the skies are clearer, the air is stiller and cleaner, it's easier to breathe, but there is a magic in the air. I think I'm speaking as I find it for myself, but I'm speaking as I find it when I talk to others. There is something magical about this time. The quality, the blue of the sky, the clarity of the moon and the stars, the flowers of the spring, the number of insects, and the bird song, all of those. So magic is really bursting forth in profusion. It's there all the time. It's there from birth all the way through life. But how often do I fully appreciate it? So is it this time allowing me the space to connect and giving me this opportunity, and it's because we're in danger of losing it? Does it become more valuable? Or is it because of the space it has to thrive that it's flourishing? Maybe the two. I was going to offer an invitation, actually. What I did an exercise a year or two ago with a flower. I was invited, and I invite you not now, but find a flower, and you can just wander around your garden or around your local park or wherever. It can be any flower, and find it and sit with it if you can. for about 15 or 20 minutes, which is a long time when you're just sitting with a flower, and really study it and look into its soul. I'm using those words because it's like we pass all these flowers around us and they're magic and beautiful as they are. When I looked into the heart of the flower, it was a clematis, I think, actually. It was, yes. I mean, it is so sacred. It's a sacred place, and it's so intricate. So try that as a great way to connect with a touch of magic. Just throw that in the pot. I arise today through the strength of heaven, light of sun, radiance of moon, splendor of fire, speed of lightning, swiftness of wind, depth of sea, stability of earth, firmness of rock. Now that's an old Celtic invocation, a calling forth, but it really resonates for me because it connects me and it connects us with everything that is around, with mountain, stone and sea and air. And that's how it is. And when I'm awake, I'm in tune with that. And when I'm asleep, which is sadly too often, I lose that intimate connection, which is infinitely available. And that's the magic of it. It is never absent, always present. Magic exists. Who can doubt it when there are rainbows and wildflowers, the music of the wind and the silence of the stars? Anyone who has loved has been touched by magic. It's such a simple and such an extraordinary part of the lives we live. Someone called Nora Roberts wrote that. And I'm going to share something quite intimate actually, but it's magic and precious and beautiful and a good illustration of the magic that's eternally available and underutilized in our society. So Fleur and I were due to get married on May the 7th, a Beltane wedding down in Glastonbury, proper wedding, and then a field under the Tor for celebrating, and guests. Not as many as I would love, because that would be hundreds, but enough. And of course that got cancelled. However, what we did, and this was last Thursday, the same day, the day we would have had our wedding, we went off into the woods, to the Bluebell Woods, with a picnic and our ritual, a few simple bits of ritual gear. I was going to hold this up, but we didn't take that, but we took a few bits. Took that actually, that was one. And set up a little altar. And we were very careful not to harm the bluebells. There were so it was 100-acre wood with dozens of acres of bluebells. Very, very respectful of the bluebells, but there was a space beside them. And we set up a space, our altar, and we improvised a ritual, a marriage ritual, a ceremony. There's the proof of it. And we swapped rings. It was magic. It was magic. And my point with this is, we could have just said, oh, that's sad, we can't do it, nobody can come. And of course there were no guests, there were just us. But magic is there to be created, it's there to be initiated, it's there to be savoured, it's there to be celebrated, it's there for in abundance. It just takes the effort. Yeah, I guess that's it. It takes the effort to make it happen. So it's there for all of us. So here's a poem by Dostoevsky, which I think sums it up beautifully. He said, Dostoevsky, "Love all creation, the whole of it and every grain of sand." There's a grain of sand again, and William Blake was fond of grain of sand. Love all creation, the whole of it and every grain of sand. Love every leaf, every ray of God's light. Love the animals, love the plants. Love everything. If you love everything, you will perceive the divine mystery in things. And once you have perceived it, you will begin to comprehend it ceaselessly, more and more every day. And you will at last come to love the whole world with an abiding universal love. I think he's spot on with that. And what it suggests is it's a practice of opening up and invoking the magic and honouring it, recognising it, being aware, and it becomes part of our lives and it becomes who we truly are. We are magic within magic. And that's rather beautiful, isn't it? So here's something that Roald Dahl wrote. He said, "And above all, watch with glittering eyes the whole world around you, because the greatest secrets are always hidden in the most unlikely places. Those who don't believe in magic will never find it." So that's the second part of my examination and exploration of magic, that it's all around all the time. But there's a third element I want to look at, and I've titled it Invoking Magic and Casting Spells. So this is the perhaps the more esoteric magic, more the realm of Harry Potter or Terry Pratchett. Anal nathrach uthvas bethud dochiel dienve. Anal nathrach uthvas bethud dochiel dienve. Anal nathrach uthvas bethud dochiel dienve. Now, some of you might recognise that. I heard it years ago. Is it Elvish? I don't mind what it is. At one level it's playful, at another it's performance, at another it is magic, because it invokes for me a quality. There is something stirred through those words. I have to look, I mean, I know it off by heart, the original. Its translation is breath of dragon, of life and death, the charm of making. It is the charm of making. Anal nathrach uthvas bethud dochiel dienve. So what's that about? It's the power of the word, the power of the spoken word, to invoke an energy, to invoke an emotion, to invoke magic within us. So here's something that Terry Pratchett wrote that I rather love. Scientists have calculated, I mean, he's talking about something magical and sort of unlikely here. Scientists have calculated that the chances of something so patently absurd actually existing are millions to one. But magicians have calculated that 1,000,000 to 1 chances crop up 9 times out of 10. And I think he's rather wise in his playfulness there. That's in Mort, it's Terry Pratchett's book, Mort. Another song. You keeping up with me? I'm a wave, my darling. I arise, undone. All love to the earth beneath me. All love to the stars and the sun. care to join me? I'm a wave, my darling. I arise, I'm done. All love to the earth beneath me. All love to whoever may come. Changing the words there. All love to whoever may come. All love to the stars and the sun. All love to whatever's around me. Just singing those type of songs really can invoke magic. It can invoke, there's this sense that it's possible to enchant through singing. And that's why Enchanting the Void, which is where Sovereign Earth grew out of, came from enchanting, making magic of the space through singing. Actually, there's a quote from the Sorcerer's Stone, J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter, and he says, "Ah, music," he said, wiping his eyes. "Ah, music," he said, wiping his eyes. "A magic beyond all we do here." And it is a magic. We enchant the world when we sing. And we also cast a spell when we open our mouths, and that's why the word spell is used. We spell out a word, we invoke it, we evoke a quality, often mindlessly, me too, often not kindly, often not wisely, often not with integrity, or not too often, but in a life it happens, to speak my truth, to speak with wisdom, with authentically and playfully, but to speak from the heart, to speak wistfully and wisely. There's the words coming up. Whoa, rose petal flying away. Yeah, to speak wistfully and wisely. The words I speak create the home I live in. That's always with me. So we cast a spell. So it's about daring to invoke magic in our lives. Do we dare to invoke magic in our lives? As often as not, maybe it needs thinking about. Do I dare to invoke magic in my lives? I know when I do, and I'm aware that I often don't. So it's a call to me as much as it is to you. I'm learning as I go with all this. We're on a shared journey. And can we invoke magic for the benefit of ourselves and those around us? That takes mindfulness, careful awareness, because as we know, we hear the saying, be careful what you wish for and be careful where you dabble in magic. Yes, it's easy to perceive it as all unicorns and fluffy bunnies, but get this, I thought this is a really powerful statement. It's quite a long way the other way in a way, but a guy called Peter Bear, he said, real magic can never be made by offering someone else's liver. You must tear out your own and not expect to get it back. That's quite scary, isn't it? But what he's really pointing to is, for magic, real magic in our lives, I think there's a sacrifice, or it's not just taken. We need to give something. He's talking about pretty extreme ripping out livers, but the old tales, the old myths of Taliesin and Finn McCool, they touch on this as well, that the reason those young lads got the reward and the wisdom, because Taliesin stirred the cauldron for a year and a day. He did the work, so he got the reward. And there is something, magic, it can come to us as a gift, as a blessing, but it's also something that we consciously work towards and work for as well. It's worth bearing that in mind, bearing that in heart. So I'm going to invite us to just do a brief guided visualization together. So I'm going to invite us to close our eyes and just to deepen our breath. And to sink into our bodies and really connect with the body and deepen the breath. And to simply take ourselves into the wood, into a place where around and before us is the sacred grove. A sacred grove in the woods. We simply find ourselves there. And there are trees in a large circle. There are all of us in a circle together. We take in the beauty of the earth beneath our feet, maybe take off our shoes and socks and just barefoot touch the earth. Look up and breathe the air, beautiful pure air, cleansed by the leaves and the trees and the plants around. Feel the breeze on your face. Hear the birds. See some birds flying over. See the leaves ruffle in the trees with the breeze. And bringing the attention to that sacred space, that circle of earth, and I invite us to find a magical spot upon it. Just walk for a moment. Just spend a few moments walking before you until you find a place that has an energy that it calls to you, and you will know it as your place. And you either sit or lie down in this space. Connecting with the magic of this space you're in, your space, the earth beneath you, the air around you. And I'm just going to invite you to consider, as you sit or lie there, I'm going to invite you to try and come up with 3 words that are magical for you. 3 of your magical words. 3 magic words for you. Just a few seconds. There's no rush. And it's not a competition. It doesn't matter if nothing comes up. It can be random words. They don't have to make sense. And if something's come up for you, great. And if something hasn't come up for you, that's also great. It doesn't matter. Try and remember the 3 words. And just finally, I'm going to invite you to allow a symbol, personal to you, a symbol to emerge in this space. Some symbol, some gift that represents magic for you. What is your gift in this time, in this space? What symbol or gift emerges that is magic for you? There's no right or wrong with this. Whatever it is, is. Just enjoying the magic of the moment for a moment more. and then getting up, giving gratitude, returning to the edge of the circle, to the edge of the grove, putting your shoes and socks back on, a final farewell, and I invite you to return here to this space that we're sharing, to your own seat, your own bottom, on your own floor or your own chair, with your own screen, whatever is available, whichever you're using. So this is a brief romp, a brief journey, a brief playful exploration in reverence and mirth. Yeah, there's sacred, and yet there's a depth and a profundity. There's also a lightness and a lack of expectation. Come what may. Believe in your heart that you are meant to live a life full of passion, purpose, magic, and miracles. If we believe it in our hearts, I think it becomes true. What we invoke as magic, what I have invoked in the past has come to be. Again, be careful what you wish for. But it's served me well in life. Some words of wisdom as we draw this towards a conclusion. Some beautiful words of wisdom from Ursula Le Guin, one of my favourite, and it's from a children's book, but what wisdom. And she's talking here. The hero of the book is a 15-year-old potential wizard who goes on his training around the realm, and he goes to a distant island with the 5 most ancient wizards living on it, and he works his way around and receives wisdom, and he gets to the oldest, the most decrepit, and the furthest, most remote on the island, who tells him this on his journey. You thought as a boy that a mage, a magician, is one who can do anything. So I thought once. So did we all. And the truth is that as a man's real power grows and his knowledge widens, ever the way he can follow grows narrower, until at last he chooses nothing, but does only and wholly that which he must do. That obviously applies for girls and women as well, but it was written by a woman, and she's talking to the boy there. The truth is that as a man's real power grows and his knowledge widens, ever the way he can follow grows narrower, until at last he chooses nothing, but does only and wholly that which he must do. And that's true magic, and it's almost stripping away back to the source, back to basics. To be true to the source doesn't leave a choice other than to be true to the source. May the circle be open, yet unbroken. May the love of the goddess live forever in our hearts. Merry meet and merry part, and merry meet again. And if I've got the words slightly wrong, it doesn't matter. Join in if you know them. Correct me where you can. May the circle be broke, may the circle be open, yet unbroken. May the love of the goddess be forever in our hearts. Merry meet and merry part and merry meet again. And a third time. May the circle be open, yet unbroken. May the love of the goddess be forever in my heart. Merry meet and merry part and merry meet again. So that's a scout through the realms of magic. It could have gone any one of an infinite number of ways, and that's what came out of the cauldron. I hope you've enjoyed it, and it's stirred some magic within you. By chance, and I decided to do magic before this happened. There's a book here of mine. It's my poetry, and it came yesterday from the printers. Magic Imagination. That was a title I chose 25 years ago, and these poems are mostly from that time. I've got a whole load more I want to print, but this is a volume of poems, and they're available. Yeah, they've got, if anybody fancies one, they're £10, and they're not on the website yet, but you can contact me through the website, and £10 plus postage. I'd also just float out there and put an invitation. Some of you have already done this, and I'm really grateful. There's a donate button on the website, on the shop part, I think. I'd really appreciate donations if anyone's up to that or feels inclined to, and if there's no expectation or coercion there. It's purely if you feel inclined to. I've really enjoyed this session. I've learnt through it too, and I hope you'll join me, some of you at least, on Friday for Earth Service and singing more songs in service to the earth during this time of what is it? A time of not knowing, I guess. All right, all my love, all my blessings, and have a beautiful, beautiful few days, and enjoy your spring. Bye.